Hello, my friends. This is going to be just a short touch-based video. Today's video is about creating space. You've probably heard that term a lot. What does it mean? How do I apply it to my day-to-day, every moment-to-moment life? My name is Paul, and this is Path of Ascension. So how are all my fellow quarantinees? I know this is a really odd time, and I know a lot of people are really struggling, and they have too much time really to tune into the media and get themselves all worked up and scared about things. But the truth is, there's also a contingent, and probably a lot of you, that are using this time to tune out and deepen their own spiritual practice, which I would highly recommend. And today, what I really want to talk about was, what is this idea of creating space? I've heard this term in almost every spiritual video I've ever seen, and it took me a long time to really understand what that meant and how I can apply that to my daily life.
I'm just gonna go use...
No, now sit tight. This is not as complicated as it sounds. So, the idea of creating space. So, look at a situation where you might be triggered. Somebody says something to you that hurts your feelings or pisses you off. And of course, unconsciously, your first instinct is to shoot something back or say something just as hurtful, maybe. Not your personhood intention, but your subconscious intention is sort of a defense mechanism. And a lot of you know that if you give yourself a beat or a moment, you can make a decision to do something different and to respond in a different way. So this is the initial meaning of that space. The space between your gut reaction and what you might normally do or do up unconsciously, and stopping, pausing, realizing that this is a trigger and this is an opportunity for me to respond different than my subconscious might automatically respond to, and that creates a space. And in that space, you make a decision and you respond appropriately, the way that you really want to respond.
You are the most irresponsible person I have ever met.
Somebody had to be.
So that seems like a very small space when you first start doing it, of course, but as you do it more and more, that space becomes much bigger. Triggers are obvious to you. They come up and you go, oh, trigger, and you automatically create that space. So I think that's initially what the meaning is.
You ain't told us shit.
I know, I'm just getting to the good stuff here. So as you do that, as you create that space and you realize that, you're in control of how you react and how you respond to things, you start recognizing that space in other places. And sometimes it's just when you're living your day-to-day life and you realize that your mind's kind of wandering and you go, okay, I need some space from that. And you just sort of cut that off and you start to be more aware. And that awareness is almost like a physical space. You can almost see it. You can almost see it between you and your thoughts, and that space becomes bigger and bigger.
You're a madman.
I come to the right place then.
Okay, so now here's the flip side of that. So at the same time that you're creating space from thoughts, you also want to create a space for thoughts. And this is where when you're telling yourself, or you hear your thoughts telling you that maybe you're not worthy or you're not good enough for something, or anything that's derogatory about yourself, you have to create space for those thoughts. In other words, you can't fight them, you don't want to argue with them, you don't want to, do something to try to block them out. You need to create space for them.
What is that supposed to mean?
What it means is simply you allow them. If you recognize thoughts for what they are, just in 10,000 random things that come in your head a day, and understand that you don't have to follow every little thought that you have, then you automatically create space for that. You allow it, and you move on, and you do what you truly want to do, rather than what your subconscious has told you to do for so many eons.
He could be anywhere, wandering around, talking to the trees.
Sorry guys, I really did want to make this short, but I rambled on a bit. Anyway, that's about all I got. I hope this makes some sense to you. If you do have any questions or comments, please leave them in the boxes below. And I'm interested to hear how you're doing with this whole quarantine thing. What are you doing with your time?
Wandering around, talking to the trees.
Can't think of anything better.